Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Patricia.
Morning.
Good morning, Sue. Good morning, Sandy. Good morning, Robin.
Good morning.
Good morning, Brittany. Claudie, good morning. Michelle, good morning. Artie, good morning.
Good morning.
Anne-Marie, good morning.
Morning.
I played that little jazz in the beginning. I hope you were listening to the same music I was listening to. Were you able to listen to the music that was being played here?
I liked it. Thank
No.
you.
Yeah. All right. So it looks like we are growing. We have quite a few people today, and more are coming in. We'll give it just a minute or two. And in the meantime, I would, in fact, I would ask you. You must have received an email because I told you that I had three sons who actually went through Woodbridge School District, and two have already gone through, and one is still there. He'll be a senior in high school next year. So I do receive communication, the parent communication that the administration sends out. So Dr. Ziga, I think he sent out a couple of days ago about asking teachers and parents input for the next year re-entry program. So where do you stand? Judith, if I could ask you, what is your opinion? I think he gave three different options. So where do you stand?
I would prefer meeting on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays with the students.
Whole day? Or, I think he said half day, something like that.
Well, I was thinking whole day, those 3 days, and then, having the 2 days in between to sanitize. And I don't know, I thought that would at least get us to have a considerable amount of time with each group of students.
And remember, I think he's also suggesting to reduce the number of students, to 1/3 of the actual population.
Yes, on Mondays it would be one group, on Wednesdays it would be the second group, and on Fridays it would be the third group. That was my understanding.
So meaning, the students will be meeting once a week.
Yes, in person, but still we would be conducting our lessons.
Of course.
And there's still that opportunity to meet with them through Google Meet, I think.
Of course. Does anyone else have an opinion different from this one where would you like to see students every day? Anyone who would like students to be there every day?
I teach second grade and I feel like they need to be in school more often. So the whole once a week thing is a little frightening to me.
I think you do have a point that yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, you were saying something, Anne-Marie?
I was saying I feel like I teach second grade and I feel like they need to be in school more often because I don't know. And then I have a kindergarten daughter as well, and I feel like her being in school only once a week, it's almost like, is that even worth exposing them at all if it's only for once a week, half a day, or whatever it is?
I think the discussion that's going around right now is naturally to have elementary schools come in more often. And the seniors, they can skip, more days. This is one of the suggestions that's going around because you are absolutely right. Earlier age, they all learn, from social cognitive interactions. They do not learn, from Zoom. And I really feel even with all this technology, it's extremely difficult to, for elementary parents and elementary teachers to deliver that kind of engagement, to deliver that kind of understanding that can be delivered in person. So you're absolutely right. For elementary grades, this could be slightly different, than the senior grades.
Now you're saying they're talking about that. Is that specific to Woodbridge or just in general?
It's Woodbridge also, by the way, they are also talking in the same lines. And I believe, most districts, they are being as creative as possible. And it also depends upon the size of the district. The larger the district, the bigger the problems. I'm not sure about Woodbridge, but I believe, some districts I know where in urban school district where there are 40 students in a class.
Yeah.
So even if you do, 1/3, we're talking about 15 students. You cannot have 15 students, with social distancing of 6 feet. No matter, what simulation you make, what graph you make, you cannot have 15 students sitting 6 feet apart from each other in a classroom. So, let's see. But at least we know one thing, that through these workshops, we will be ready no matter, what life throws at us. We'll be more ready. I would not say, we'll be perfect, but we'll be better off, than many of those who didn't have exposure to this kind of a pedagogy. Because, like I said, last time also, that I saw the struggles of the teachers and the glee on the faces of, these students, especially high school students, who would just have to keep their cameras off or, keep their mic off and just, even go to sleep and just wake up, with alarms. They're very creative, and they would set up alarms at the end of the class and just check in or check out whatever it was, and they will do that and hope, that learning has happened. And unfortunately, in majority of the cases, learning has not happened countrywide. Not only, just in this district, everywhere learning has not happened. Meaningful learning has not happened, and hopefully, with this cognizance of the importance of pedagogy, how learning happens in person and online, the difference between that and how we can match up the technologies, that make that kind of a learning and teaching happens. That is the purpose of these workshops, and that's hopefully we'll be able to achieve better as we move forward. So in the spirit of interaction, in the spirit of the effective pedagogy of learning and teaching, I would request all of you also, if it's not really necessary privacy concern, feel free to keep your camera off. But otherwise, I would request to keep your cameras on, because this is exactly what you would expect from your students also. Once they start, that they would be keeping their cameras on, so that you could minimize that gap between in-person teaching and online teaching. So I'm requesting all of you, if you'd be kind enough just to put your cameras on, and we're going to start. And feel free to chime in. This is supposed to be a two-way interactive workshop. So don't hesitate to interrupt. This is not a monologue. I would love to stop and explain things, which are unclear. But that's how, we'll make it more interactive. So thank you all of those who have turned their cameras on, and rest, whenever you get the motivation, please, keep your cameras on. And I'm requesting the same thing. Please encourage your students also, because when I see you, even if it's a small picture right now, hopefully the technology will improve, and I will also be able to see it on a larger screen. Right now, I'm looking at a smaller screen, but I know I can also project this on a larger screen, on a larger television, when I can see the facial expressions better, and that's what makes it more meaningful. So thank you all of those who turned their cameras on. So we're going to start now. We are on our third workshop today, and the third workshop, what I had planned is something different from before. So just like before, I'm requesting you to open up two browser tabs. One is for this Zoom interaction, and the other browser tab, I'm going to type in the chat here a URL link. Please go to that URL link and enter this code. This is different from Peer Deck. This is not Peer Deck today. So I think, one of you did share some experience, with this application that I'll be using. And this is phenomenal. I think, this is probably the most comprehensive in terms of two-way teaching and learning happening. So what you'll see today, I'm very excited about it, and hopefully you'll do too. So here is the text, the URL link. And you will enter code. And I would want, one of you to be my kind of helper here today. I need, one volunteer, because if people join in afterwards, in the middle of, when I'm presenting, they will not be able to see the text links, that I just sent. You should be kind enough, just to copy and paste for those people when they join in every couple of minutes or so that, they're all, they could all see, what we are going, what we are looking at. So I need just one volunteer, and you would just raise your hand, and that'll be fine for me. If you could just copy and paste this link in the chat box for the next couple of minutes. Any volunteer? Hey, thank you, Artie. Very kind of you. So so we are going to move on here. So we have been talking about the best practices, and today we're talking about the technologies that work for all kinds of abilities. We're talking about the students with exceptional abilities and students, with the compromised abilities or diminished abilities. So I see there are 4 of you have joined in already. Let me see, who else is not in there yet. Susie in, Artie in, Brittany in. I have a total of, I believe, how many? 17 people in here. So you should be kind enough if you could just log into that. Okay, got Brittany in, Sandra, Shipra, Susie, Tatiana. So the rest, if you could join in so that you know what we are looking at. Go to this link, join.nearpod.com. And if you're on a cell phone, unfortunately, this won't help, because you'll not be able to see what I'm showing you here, because this requires some interaction. You'll be writing on, you'll be drawing on, and you'll be responding in person. I need a few more here. 17 here, and I believe 9 here. So I need 8 more people who are not on Nearpod right now. If you're on a cell phone and you want to take a moment to grab a laptop or something, please do so. And so that, because in order for you to have the full impact of this application, you need some bigger device.
Can you show the code again?
Okay, sure, I'll do that. Artie, can you just retype that if you'd be kind enough?
I'm sorry, but I'm trying to get in and it's not letting me. I copied and pasted and then I entered the code and it came back to a site where it says to put my name down.
Yes,
and
that's correct.
put my name.
Yes.
Okay.
Because that's how I would know. That's how you would know once you use this application. That's how you will know who the students are who are with you at any given point, and that's why name is important here. Without that, you wouldn't know that.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No, it's all right. It's all right. Anyone else who's having difficulty here?
Yeah, myself.
Okay. Is this something, that, are you, what kind of problem are you having?
But it says the site can be reached.
Okay. Are you at join.nearpod.com?
Yes, yes. I keep
Take
clicking
out
enter.
Take out the join. Just do nearpod.com. That's how I got in.
It doesn't give me that option.
Just do nearpod.com. Redo it. With
I
just,
did.
did you get rid of the word join?
Oh, you have to get rid of the word join.
Yes, that's how I got in.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just confirm, once you're in, Claudia, just let me know that you're in.
Okay.
It will ask you to enter your name.
As student?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe, are you, I think it was, Sandy, were you helping Claudia?
Yes.
Okay. What you're looking at right now, can you confirm, that you're looking at, my screen, what you're looking at?
It's which technologies work for students of different abilities.
Perfect. Just want to confirm. Okay. So I think, we have almost all of us in, except we're still waiting for Claudia.
Okay, that's fine.
Got it? Perfect.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
All righty. So now we are talking about, when we're talking about different abilities, we're talking about, like I said, the higher ability students and the diminished ability or lesser ability students, all of them. So what you'll be looking at today would serve all of them. This is just an example here. So we are looking at the equity. So this presentation, this platform would allow you to incorporate, first of all, the regular presentation slides, the way that you do it in PowerPoint slides and all that. Students will be able to not only look at that. So, this is just a PowerPoint slide. So what differentiation is, it tells you all of that. So as a PowerPoint slide, I'm not, showing you the pedagogy of differentiation here. What I'm showing you is just the functionality of this platform and the way it relates to the pedagogy. In terms of pedagogy, you look at, at this presentation, you'll see there's very little text and a lot of images in this presentation. And that is the principle of presenting something online. When you're presenting something distant, you are expected to keep the text to the minimum. So these are just different images, the different student worksheets and all that. So like I said, that the purpose here is not to go into the pedagogy of all of that. The purpose is only to tell you that how inserting a regular PowerPoint slides into this new application, Nearpod, works. I think someone mentioned reading, struggling readers in classroom. I'm not sure who it was, if I'm forgetting, but someone had an issue with struggling readers, and I believe that this kind of a strategy, because that's based on the principle of RTI, response to intervention, wherein you have a different leveled support of instruction, and students, who are struggling readers, they do, whether depending upon, their level of intervention that is given to them, they can be helped with reading even in a distant environment. In fact, that becomes easier if you take them to level 4, tier 4 of RTI. You can have one-to-one sessions with them, and you can actually do close reading also, with your students. And also this can be supported with audio and narrations. So I believe that with the existing technology, struggling readers can help greatly from the support of technologies that we have, existing technology, not even in the future. Alrighty, this is another form of what they call a feature of this program. And has anyone had any experience with this thing called PHET, P-H-E-T, especially? Is there a science or physics teacher or anything like that? Is there anybody here? Physics, science teacher? Okay, yes. Kimberly, do you have any experience with thing called PHET, P-H-E-T?
I've just only previewed it. I've done a couple of the simulations myself because I teach 4th grade science. So it's some of the things, most of the things are a little above their level. So
okay, and
for science.
And by the way, they keep on adding more and more simulations.
Yeah.
This is one of the simulations, and I would like you to now go ahead and start, with level 1. Click on level 1. Click on level 1 and try to solve this level 1. Can you do this? Do you see level 1? Kimberly, can you confirm, if you see level 1 simulation here? Okay. Now, what I want you to do is that you create, this 2 1/4 by dragging these circles here. These. So if I want to make 2 1/4, I'll do like this: 2 1/4. So I got this. Now I'm going to drag this into this, and here is my answer. Sue, can you confirm, if you can play with this simulation?
Yeah, I'm in.
Great. And I should be able to
Thanks.
show you. Go ahead. Robin, can you do that? Can you are you seeing what we are seeing? Make sure when you're responding, just unmute yourself just for a second.
Yeah, I'm going through and doing the level.
Okay. Great.
Where was this when I had to learn fractions when I was a kid?
You're absolutely right.
This is so much better.
This is just to give an example of the options. And, once we are done with this, I'll show you where you can get more simulations like, like this one for other subjects too. You can use these simulations for physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, and I believe, and all of them are free. They're all part of this project by the University of Colorado, where PhET actually stands for Physics Education Technology. They started with physics, but now they have added more subjects. And all of these simulations you can download, you can add it to your websites, you can add it to your Google Classroom, and and the students can solve these simulations on their devices. What a phenomenal resource that you can share with your students. And as a teacher, you'll be able to see their results. You'll be able to see their work in a separate window.
Is this something that they're doing on their own time, or are they doing it live like we are now?
No, they're doing it live. Actually,
oh, okay. Because I was going to say I have a lot of parents that would do it for them.
No, exactly. So actually, there are two options. The lesson that I'm doing, the entire presentation that I'm doing right now, that the code that you got, that the code that you entered is for live session. Once you've done your live session, you can release this as student-paced also. So meaning you start with a live lesson and then you leave it as student-paced. So it's not like that someone else is doing it for them. First they have to show you here, and then if you want, you can make it what they call student-paced or asynchronous, wherein they can go home and they can do it on their own. But I would always say that you start with a live lesson and then leave it to them later on. Got it? Yeah. So, how are you liking this, Lisa? Like it? Great. Denise, what do you think? Okay, thumbs up.
I like it. I like it. How many questions are there on here?
Oh, you can go on and on and on. There's quite a lot. But I believe as of last, if I could count, let me show you the actual website also. Where they got these simulations from. Give me a minute and I'll show you. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing this one. And I'm gonna share. Okay. Let me show you.
And this is putting you through the levels. Even we started on level 1, but it's automatically just pushing you through all the levels.
That's correct. It will take, once you're done with the first one, it will take you to the next level. Okay, so let me show you what I was. I'm sorry, I've stopped sharing that one. I'm showing you where you can get these simulations from. So you can go to this website called phet.colorado.edu. This is from the University of Colorado, PhET. You can just search for PhET simulations, PhET, PhET, Physics Education Technology Simulations, and it will bring you here. And click on this simulations, physics, chemistry, math, earth science, biology, all sims. Let's go to all sims. And on the left side, you can choose a simulation by subject. There are 158 simulations. And these are extensive simulations, properly vetted by professors, by the teachers who have, this is not, I mean, you can upload, but it will go through the vetting process before this is given out for free. Because this is an open source, so you can download it wherever you want. So physics, chemistry, math, earth science, biology. So let's go to biology here. So you can also do by grade level. So if I want grade level earth science, elementary. So I think what someone was saying about which for elementary. So look at that. You still have, just for one subject, there are 11 simulations available for earth science. And let's do, if we can go for math, and you have 23 simulations for math for elementary schools. So I believe it was Judith, I believe, or someone who said for fourth graders. So you can use and it's growing. You can have more and more of these simulations coming up. So
the only problem I was facing when I was using PhET recently is it's a beautiful simulation that some of them weren't working with Chromebook. And I believe they're updating it right now in the summer so that some of the simulations work with Chromebook.
That's correct. And I tell you why. If you look at these simulations here, each simulation shows you a little bit of this little icon here. This is 5. This icon is different. This is called F. So these are made with different software program. This is HTML5. This should work on Chromebooks.
Yeah, all the HTML files are working on Chromebook, but they have so many simulations that we'd like to use which are not HTML.
That's correct. I think you're absolutely right. They have in Java, they have in Flash, and they have in HTML5. So I believe the ones that you wanted to use, they were probably made with Java.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so that's why. And some Flash is going out. Flash is going to be outdated. So that's why I'm saying it's only available through 2020, because after that it will be gone. So, but I think that more and more are coming. Which are interchangeable. Will be available on both HTML5 and Java, because of the nature of these technologies. You have to show 3 dimensions. So some of these technologies are unable to show all the angles and all that. So they have to use both of them. So yes, some limitation is there, but hopefully this will grow over time. This will continue growing.
I believe they're working on it right now in the summer.
Yes. All right. So let's go back to the other slide that I was showing here. Oops. Share. There we go. So we're back to our Nearpod. So please go back to the presentation. And here, this is another simulation here. Now I want you to play with this one also a little bit. You got to help this guy go over this curve. So you would have to change, for example, if I'm leaving it here, this roller skater, he can't go because of his mass or the friction. So you'd be changing the mass, either making a smaller mass or larger mass, and you can also be changing friction to make it either lower friction, 0 friction, or high friction. So this is to teach them the laws of motion and the laws of physics in terms of the force required to go over. You can change even the shape of the curve, whichever way you want. And I want you to now start playing with this one a little bit and tell me once you are able to get this guy over this curve. On to you. Claudia, can you see this?
Dr. Saleem, will you be able to see everybody's work on your screen, like
Yes.
whatever we are doing for this one?
Yes.
Okay.
There's what they call the teacher portal, where you can see, their work also.
So the teacher portal is available on FET, or is it because of Nearpod?
It's on Nearpod, and the good thing is, I think someone said who used Nearpod that the district has purchased this for all the teachers, because I think it was Artie. Would you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay, because I believe otherwise this costs about $350 per person per teacher. So yes.
So Artie, where are we going to find the code to enter for Nearpod to use it?
We were given the login IDs, I think when the remote learning started, I think within a week, it went whole district wide, the Nearpod. So you might want to contact Laura Calabrese. She might know more about it. And then the codes are only for the students. We get the login IDs and passwords.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
the students, you don't have to have a roster in the Nearpod. All you have to do is just make your lesson, and when you present it, a unique code is created. All you have to do is give that code to your students, and it's easy for them to join in your lesson. So they don't need their accounts. It's only you need the account.
That's correct. Thank you. And I'm telling you, this is
Thanks.
a very valuable resource. It costs a lot of money, and the district has purchased it. This was a good investment at I think early on. All right. So I think you got the idea that the kind of features and the facilities this program can provide, and you can add many more. And also they are working. And those of you who have used Edpuzzle before, the video with quizzes and all that is also coming, because I spoke to somebody in their development section, and they said they are working on incorporating Edpuzzle also within Nearpod, meaning you'll be able to import any YouTube video and add quizzes to those videos. So instead of just letting students watch the video non-stop, you'll be able to strategically insert quizzes and polls, and they'll be able to have some kind of engagement with videos instead of just a passive digestion of the information. They'll be able to do some active responses, and they'll be able to engage with them more better with that kind of a technology when it comes in the fall. All right. So is there anyone who was able to get this guy across the curve? Anyone?
Yes, I was able to.
Great. Okay. So see, that's how you can explain the concepts of mass. You can ask the concept of velocity and the friction and all that. So this is just a way of teaching. And I'm telling you, in terms of online teaching, probably this is the best way of engaging students in meaningful explanation. This is the clarification of the concepts. Alrighty, so we're going to move on. This is my new favorite. As I think I did mention early on, the concept of VR, and I know there is some reservation about it. There is some reluctance about the utility of VR. It's not the VR of before. Just look around. You can also play with this three-dimension picture that you have. You can put in any picture of any 3D picture of any place, idea, a product that you want students to look at, and they will be able to play around with this themselves and just be there. Can you confirm, Artie, can you confirm if you can actually use this with the mouse? Can you move it around?
Yes.
Denise, can you move it around with your mouse?
Yes, I can move it.
Great. So just to give you an example, the possibilities that are within this. Let me show you another one. Okay.
Wow.
This is one thing, that my wife always wanted. I couldn't get her. This is a little too expensive. She wanted me to buy this house. I told her, they're not selling it. That's my excuse for her. Okay. So if you look around, just play with this. Look at the way you can observe a product or a monument like you're there. You can even bring it up close. Look at this. You can zoom in as much as you want just to look at the different aspects of a product or an organ, body organ. This is just an example. You can put in a body organ here, and it will show you, like, say, heart or brain if you are looking at it, and it will show you every aspect of that. And we all know that the different parts of the brain, the frontal lobe, the occipital lobe, the medulla oblongata, and all of that. But students haven't seen this. So show them, and they'll be able to remember. They will be able to know where different parts of the brain are located. So, Claudia, can you confirm, if you can actually move this thing around?
Yes, indeed.
Wonderful, wonderful. So this was just an example. Now we're going to move on. Okay, folks. Now you got, some pairs of pictures and monuments. And what I want you to do is match those pairs and the flags. I'm sorry, they match those flags with the monuments. Flags of different countries and the monuments, where they belong. And I'll be able to show you your results right here. And the number of tries, it actually calculates the number of tries, and I'll show you your results right after this. That you're able to get how many matches correctly in how many tries.
Is anybody going to make fun of me?
You can't do worse than many I've seen.
Oh
my goodness.
I know the monuments, but not the flags.
I'm opposite. I know the flags, not the monuments.
Okay, let's work together.
There you go. That's called collaboration. It's not cheating anymore. Tatiana is on a roll here.
Man, I can't fool.
Shipra, come on, come on. Tatiana got it. She done all of that. Who's Patty's right behind? Sandra. Sandra is right behind.
You did every flag with this.
Michael looks like he's in the office today. Got it. Robin, done?
Yeah, I got called in to play EMT at a school at a camp this summer yesterday.
Oh, okay. I could see you from your mask. Okay.
I just guessed
And
everything
that's
because you actually get the right answer at some point of a time if you keep on trying.
I know, yeah.
Of course.
So we learned something by even hit and trial, I guess.
Exactly. This is called learning through repetition.
Look at my tries, 21.
Oh, okay. Artie, yeah. But you're
But I
better than
tried.
22.
I got it right.
But you're better than 22.
I know.
Do you see the
Who's on
result?
20?
Anne
Who's on
Mary,
22?
Anne Mary is right behind.
I
Looks
know,
like,
we should have worked.
looks
Should have
like,
worked together.
yeah, of course.
Some of them, I don't even know what some of those monuments are. How pathetic is that? I only teach second grade though, so.
It's same here, Anne Marie. We are lower elementary, so we never covered this curriculum in our lifetime, I guess.
Working on
Or probably, you
country
don't get the time, to travel around.
Yeah.
Oh God, no. Not on a teacher salary, anyway.
That's correct.
I know. I'm happy if my kids know what state versus country. What state do you live in? Trenton. No.
Trenton is the capital of America in my classroom.
Oh, we're lucky if we know what Trenton is here.
Oh boy. And I worked, many years for one of the urban school districts, very close to New York City. And I'm talking of the kids who were born here. They had never been to New York City. They had never been to Manhattan.
Yeah.
And they were in high
We
school.
have few.
I had a few kids that didn't know what an escalator was in the mall.
Oh my
They said they're like over the 12 years that I've been teaching, I've had maybe 5 or 6 kids. I always ask them, and they're like, I don't know what you mean moving stairs. It's like, oh God.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Looks like.
Excuse me. Sorry, excuse me. I have a question.
Yes.
I teach language, and that would really help with the maps and maybe words or with matching vocabulary words. How do we go about creating these things? Or is this just in the simulations that you find it? Or is there a manner of creating
Yes.
these?
In fact, I'll show you. In fact, you will show me how to create. Right now, I'm showing you the features and the extent where on which this can be used. But yes, you'll be creating these things yourself. These pictures and all these flags and things that you're seeing. I gathered these myself.
Oh wow! Okay.
So
All right. Thank you.
So
I never used Nearpod. I've never used it, but I think it would be valuable in a language class with the matching of words and maps
and the definitions. Just imagine, you can give them kind of clues, where you try to match the words with the definitions. So you can create those kind of matches, and the possibilities are endless in this one. These are the picture, these flags and the monuments I downloaded from Google. So you can actually use any pictures, anything, and you can put it in this PowerPoint.
Thank you.
Great. So who has won? Looks like 32. Patty won. The number of tries. Yeah. So I mean, this shows that we need to travel around, by the way. Okay. So we're going to move on. Here we go. This is now inserting a video. So when you want to explain something using a video, and videos also, remember that videos also come now in 3-dimensional, 360-degree videos. So let's try this one.
What if the world was about people, machines, and materials that collaborate?
Are you listening to the sound? Can you listen to this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Each one has new things to offer, and we could have a much more rich conversation between those. Cities and buildings and manufacturing processes that are more resilient, that are programmable, that can change, that can make decisions on demand, that could construct themselves. So a more active and dynamic environment. a whole new paradigm for how we make things, and a paradigm for after we make things, how they can be more resilient and adapt on their own. So we could have potentially much more lean structures and systems that are more resilient. So instead of over-engineering structures and having extremely static, rigid things that will resist everything, we could have simpler, more elegant solutions, but that can respond dynamically. Manufacturing could be more like growing or responding than it is like forcing, pounding things together with screwdrivers and sledgehammers and super expensive machines that brute force the way that things come together, but rather can we find elegant energy sources like heat, shaking, gravity, sound? Can we use sound for construction? So a different type of world. It's not that we're saying that we minimize energy. You know, you need the same amount of energy, but we can use different types of energy. So maybe the construction sites in the future, we play Beethoven and structures build themselves. We're not there yet, but just an idea that these energy sources that are around us that are extremely abundant can activate materials, and materials can respond to them. And then what can we do with it? So I have a lab at MIT called the Self-Assembly Lab. And so we're researching this and on one hand trying to design the future of making, the future of how we interact with materials and how they adapt. But on the other hand, trying to find very near-term applications. And so we're developing prototypes at large scales, demonstrating this is possible, that we can build physical things that change in response to environmental reactions or environmental activators. And so one of the most exciting things we've just released is called 4D printing. The idea behind 4D printing is that if you compare it to 3D printing, where 3D printing is depositing materials in order to build three-dimensional structures, but normally it stops when you print the part. We print these static objects, or we pick them off a bed and they're supposed to be used as they were printed. We're adding the idea that parts could change over time and they could adapt over time. So the fourth dimension, the idea is that it's responding to time. And so we don't just print static things, but that they could change, they could evolve, they could adapt to certain conditions. So it's sort of the idea or the question, could we print robotics, but without wires and motors, that it can be programmable and transformable on its own right off the print bed. So one of the applications generally about programming materials and self-assembly, and potentially an application that could utilize 4D printing in the future, is more adaptive water piping and infrastructural systems. The idea is that in many infrastructural systems, we build static, fixed capacity things like fixed water pipes that have expensive pumps and valves. And that if anything changes, if the ground shifts, if temperature changes, if demand changes, if you need more capacity, more flow rate, you have to dig them up or you have to replace these expensive components. And so couldn't we have a much more resilient and a more adapting piping system that would be able to expand or contract on demand? So it'd be able to change the capacity, change the flow rate, maybe even undulate to move the water, sort of like peristaltics or how fluids are moved within our bodies. So this idea, this technology, it's not ready today. We have prototypes, but the 4D printing idea might be a way that we could start to manufacture this. How can we build from idea to reality a streamlined process that can make these smarter materials that respond to a very specific activation? In that case, it's water. It's an amazing time right now. If you look at what's happening at the nanoscale and at the material science world, it's unbelievable that we're able to program almost every material, synthetic and biological material, to change shape, change property, assemble themselves, replicate. It's a shift from just discovering new things to turning the dials and actually designing with new things. And that needs to happen at the large scale. We need to have the nanotech revolution for all of the problems we have in the built environment in construction, manufacturing, and infrastructure.
Okay. A quick question. Let's say I'm going to put a couple of people on the spot here, and for a reason. Robin, he mentioned 4D printing. What was the fourth dimension he was talking about? Robin. Okay.
I'll be honest. I'm a language arts teacher. That's like way over my language arts head. Science is not my thing, so that I had to really listen pretty hard to what he was talking about. I know a little bit about the 4D printing. I know what they've done with it, but a lot of that went over my head, to be honest. Okay, great. I'll tell you the purpose of this question a little later. Denise, can you tell what the fourth dimension was talking about?
From what I understood, it was like, it could be something different, like air or water, that changes what that three-dimensional object can do. Was that?
Who else can chime in? Anyone? Volunteer.
So from my understanding, the difference is that like 3D objects maintain a fixed shape, while like 4D objects can convert and transform themselves.
Yes, you're absolutely right. The fourth dimension he was talking about, by the way, he was talking about time as a fourth dimension here, okay? So, over time, this will work. But the thing is, I'm asking you this question verbally, right? Just to make sure that, this video, the 5-minute video that we played, students were paying attention to. This is one way of checking for understanding or checking for attention. If you don't want to do this, this video will stop at certain strategic points, and you can insert questions which students would have to type in their answers to. So not only that you can engage students verbally, and by the way, again, this video I also pulled off YouTube. So it means that, yeah, go ahead. Okay. Yeah. So meaning you can insert any YouTube and insert questions also, just to make sure the students are paying attention to and they know. So that you could reinforce the lesson with your answers. And by the way, the newer technology that has come in, even for these formative assessments, when we talk about formative assessments, probably I think this will be our 5th session when we'll talk about formative assessments. In that, if you give them a quiz and students answer it wrong, it will lead them to a mini lesson. So you, without being even there, students got a question wrong at their own time, they will be guided to a mini lesson on that particular topic. So much, that the technology has evolved, and these are exciting times in terms of the extent in which support can be made available to these students. If a student is wrong on a quiz and he's sitting home or doing or working on a paper, there is no way for a student to get instant feedback until the student comes back next day to the teacher and shows it, and the teacher gets a time. So it's almost a week-long gap between learning and getting the feedback. And that not only impacts the motivation, it also impacts the learning, because the shorter the gap between learning and making it wrong and assessment and feedback, the better the understanding and better the motivation. And the technology will be helping both in terms of students getting it right and getting the reinforcement also right away. So look for those opportunities. When we talk about assessments, we'll talk about those features also in technology. Why I'm really excited about it. Alrighty. Here's now this is another way, and these are called sways, but this is the form of a PDF presentation. You can say PDF slideshow. So again, this is a generic Tower of Pisa presentation, but you can put in anything you want just to reinforce. For example, if this presentation was related to the video we just saw on 4D printing, this will reinforce in a different way. So this also you can embed within Nearpod in a different format. You can also upload a PDF slide presentation also like that. Alrighty, here you have a worksheet to solve. This is also an answer to some of the questions. I think, some of the questions, I think it was someone who mentioned that they had trouble working with PDFs. So what I want you to do now is please draw your answers or type in your answers to some of these equations. Draw or type your answers, and I'll show you your answers right here. Actually, at my end, it's showing me all of your responses. There's some work in progress. So as a teacher, you can also see. I see that Suleika is drawing the answers, and most of you are drawing the answers. No one is typing. Shipra and Kim, I want you to work on this. Just to show that how to work on these kind of worksheets. Everyone is working on it. So again, in the spirit of accountability, you can actually figure out who's working and who's not working. I'm looking at all of them, and if you go back to the presentation, you'll be able to see the work from all the other people in your group. I can even hide student names if I want to make it anonymous, and I can leave the names on, whichever is convenient. I see Michael, is typing. Thank you, Michael, showing us another way of doing this. Artie, did you use any of these things in your Nearpod lessons?
Yes, I have. The younger grades, they love to write. And another thing I like to share here is whenever we may insert any kind of a PDF, just make sure that there is a margin on the top and as well as at the bottom. Somehow Nearpod has that bar thing that keeps on coming either at the top or at the bottom, which makes it harder for the students to actually write on it. I mean, you might be noticing at the bottom, it's very hard for you guys to write in your answers because that little bar, it keeps on popping up and down. So it's always a good idea to have a lot of margin up and below whenever you insert any kind of a document.
Excellent. Excellent suggestion. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
So,
I'm having a hard time writing at the bottom.
Of course.
Yeah, you cannot write at the bottom.
Can't write at the bottom.
And one thing, I think, one you can say way of using this is to use this on iPads. iPads will allow you to use to work on these better because of the capacity they have using with those pens and all that. You can actually write on the screen itself. So like it is hard for you to use a mouse for this kind of a writing, but I think it will be much easier if there is and I think I believe the elementary students do have access to iPads. Don't they? Even our Chromebooks, I think that were provided to us, that we can actually write with the pencils on it. With our regular pencils, you can write on the screen. Hey, sounds like a rich district to me. No, it's the ASI funding that we get from state. Okay. So if you come back to the presentation screen, you'll be able to see the work of other students, so to speak. And you can see, who is working, who is not working, and you can prod the ones who are not working and the ones who have submitted. Can you confirm, Susie, can you confirm that you can see all of this?
Yeah, I can see it all.
Wonderful.
So this is just a PDF that is imported into this?
That's correct. I just picked up, from YouTube. I'm sorry, from Google. Just downloaded
Now,
from Google and.
oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was telling you that I imported this PDF from Google and uploaded it into this presentation.
Okay. Now you said somebody was typing. I tried to make a text box, but I think it got. How was he typing?
Michael is the expert on that. Michael.
Yeah, all what I did was I made a text box. The top two dots you can move where that text box is, and then I took one of the bottom ones and I dragged it to shape it how I did. So the left column is actually one whole text box. And if you can see mine, some of the answers don't match up because I had to put a space return in there. But as a teacher, you can see that, okay, 4 + 4 = 8, and I had everything correct under that. And that was the easiest way to do that.
Now, when we were doing, like when we first went online learning, I was looking at some more in Google Classroom ways that you can add your own. Like when you do the PDF, you can add your text boxes. You can just add little boxes and make them like maybe a light yellow or something so that the students can see the boxes there.
Yes.
So they don't have to wrestle with making their own boxes, and they're a slightly different color so they can see them and type their answers in there.
I think, I did keep, one of the lessons on that. There are applications within Google Suite, which you can integrate with them, and you can create all of what you're talking about.
Right.
Two of them, come to my mind right away. One is Kami, Kami, and the other one is Doc Hub. These are the two apps, and I believe Lisa was, nodding. So probably she has some experience with Kami. You want to share your experience, Lisa, with Kami?
Yeah, it was pretty good. One of the other partners that I work with had taught the kids right before we were doing remote learning. And you can, like with our readers' notebooks for language arts, you can take a picture of your, anything, and in your notes app in your iPad, and it will make it into a PDF, and then they can use Kami to mark it up. And they were all able to use it. I teach 5th grade, so they're a little bit older, but we used it all the time, and it was fabulous. Some kids wrote, some kids typed, but they were all able to manage with it. It's an extension they put in their, in Google.
Yeah.
Great. Like I said, I'm psyched up, in the last couple of months. I have learned in my life, more in the last 3 months than I ever learned because of the opportunity that we got staying home. And this was, imposed upon us that now you would have to do this and figure it out. I think, I didn't learn so much in my doctoral program that I learned here on my own, for the last couple of, because, this was now a kind of a necessity. So out of necessity, we, and the companies also, they have, the way they have developed these programs exponentially in the last couple of months. This is to some, I think, this unfortunate pandemic, has prompted, some kind of a growth and development, and we are at the, at the receiving end of it. So thank you very much for this. And one of the features, one of the actually best practices in teaching, the pedagogy says that the best way to learn is to teach. So I can request, in fact, you can also do, to same thing, for your students also, you can ask them to show it. For example, if I could ask, who can I ask here? Let's say, Brittany. Can you share, what you were working on this, your slide? Can you share your slide here?
Sorry for the background noise.
It's all right. It's all right.
Watching my son, which is why I only did half of it.
We live in the real world, so don't worry about
He's
it.
about a year old. But I did the first few with a text box,
Can you present? What I'm gonna do? You can actually share. You can.
I'm not able to. I'm on the iPad.
Oh, okay.
The sharing capabilities are a mess on the iPad.
Oh, okay. No problem. Anyone, I want, someone, to share their screen, because that's one way of not only engaging students, you can actually, at random, you can ask. So Sue, can I ask you, if you'd be kind enough, can you share your screen?
I don't know whether I'll be able to do it.
Hey, this is how we learn. Don't worry about it. And Zoom allows you to share multiple screens. If it's giving you any problem, I'll stop sharing mine so that you can share yours. But this is how we learn.
I have some slides at the bottom that's blocking everything for me, and I can't really see. Don't know how to do it.
Does it show you at the bottom, share screen, something like that?
No, there's nothing at the bottom that's saying anything about sharing. It doesn't say anything at the bottom about
when
sharing.
I click share, it says I can't because you're sharing.
Okay, here you go. That's what I was saying, let me stop sharing, and you go ahead now. Try now.
I still don't have anything on that slide that says I can share.
No, you would have to go to the Zoom screen.
Where will I have to go?
The Zoom screen. Here we go. We got something from, who is sharing now?
Anne-Marie.
Anne-Marie. Okay, great. Look at this.
So how do we do that?
Anne-Marie, can you tell her how to do this?
Yes. How do I stop it?
Stop sharing. Yes.
So I just went on to Zoom, like the Zoom screen.
Yeah, you go to share screen again.
See everybody, and I click where it says share. It's next to my chat button. But
it's actually breaking up. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I think, Anne-Marie has, this kind of thing happens when there's a bandwidth issue. That's where, you have this kind of a distorted voice. Anyone, who wants to present?
It sounded like she said it was under Zoom at
Yes.
the top. Well, I don't know where it is on everybody else's.
If she is in a full screen mode, she might have to exit that to bring that bar up. If you're in full screen, then it hides down. So exit if you are in full screen.
What do you choose? Do you choose application?
I chose desktop, but I don't know if that was right.
Yeah. You can, desktop, will allow you to show almost anything, on your device. You can choose whichever. Usually, I separate these tabs so that I'm not even sharing the entire Chrome. I'm looking at the presentation that I was sharing with you is on just one tab. The other tabs are on. So I have, actually three different computers that I have in front of me, and I oscillate in between all. So I'm talking to you on one computer, and the presentation is on another computer, and the third one is the student view of that. So I have, I'll show you my setup. It's pretty cool. And what you see here behind me, by the way, it's a green screen. So, it's not, when I'll show you, I think it is on, the last session is on video recording, something like that. Oh, no, the video recording is next one. Yeah, on Thursday, I'll show you how to record videos. So in my basement, my dear Brian has been kind enough, to let me occupy this. And I've converted this into a small studio of some sort, wherein I have, these, all this paraphernalia, which I'll share with you on Thursday. But, if you come in here, this is supposed to be a gym. But we have converted into a studio. I'll show you my setup.
Fun school's Chromebook, they don't let you use Zoom.
Now I can share my screen.
Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. So go ahead, Sue, go ahead.
Can you see it? I clicked on it. And can you see?
Yeah, now we can. There you go.
Okay.
You made it.
Yeah. I couldn't see the bar at the bottom. That was the problem. And then it showed up.
That's what an Artie was saying, that this Nearpod does have a little issue with the bars on some of the worksheets. But great, look at this. So you can ask your students to show others what they're doing. So now we can all see it.
Great, thanks for helping.
Yep, thank Artie for that.
Thank you, Artie.
Okay, so let me now go back to the presentation here. There we go. Now, here's a question. And you'll see all the student answers here. This is just a sample question. Tell us about one education technology that you've learned most recently. How are you going to use it with your students and why? You can type your answers below or record them in audio. So I would like some of you to record your answers in audio just to show the difference between the two. And I'll tell you why I'm focusing on audio, because that's the next big thing in feedback. And when we talk about formative assessments, I'll show you how you can transform your feedback, the way we have been giving feedback on student assignments, completely. It's no more just writing or just circling without any explanation. The new way of giving feedback will be audio and video feedback, and that is going to be the next big thing. So please go ahead and answer this question, and I would like some of you, whosoever can, and not everyone would be comfortable with the recording, but please if you can, one or two volunteers I would want who can record their answers. And you can come back to the presentation afterwards, and you can see the responses from others.
The newest technology I've learned today is Nearpod. It seems very exciting to use with my students, so they can use multiple intelligences to learn the concept in many different ways.
Of course. You can use this. And by the way, Nearpod is just a platform. I picked up Nearpod because of the comprehensive nature of this platform. If this thing can be accomplished by any other platform, feel free to use it. But apparently, because of the amount of work involved in creating these kind of applications, the work is still in progress. There are not many applications out there that I found so comprehensive. Peer Deck was what we saw the other day was the second, in terms of its capacity to give that kind of instruction, to deliver this kind of instruction. There we go. I think Artie has already played around with Moat. This is one of those. Great. And we'd like to hear your experience with Moat. Can you tell me a little bit about Moat while the others are responding?
Yeah, it's just like an extension for Google Classroom. And whenever I was checking my students' work, I'm bad at typing. I hate to type, and I'm a very slow typer. So I needed something that, where I can just leave my audio remarks for the students. So I came across this extension, and it worked wonder. where I can go into each and every student's assignment, and all I have to do is just click on that mode button right next to the comment button, and I can actually say my comments there. That's the one way I use it. And I had few students with dyslexia where I was supposed to actually read assignments to them. So I use it for that also. Like if there was a slide, I would actually read the whole slide for the student, and it was there for them to just listen to the slide and look at the visual part of it. So yeah.
Wonderful. Robin, Shipra, and Kim. Denise. Oh, okay. Denise got it. Claudie, I want your answer too. Can you see the answers from others? Can you look at it? Can you confirm if you can see it, Patricia?
No.
You don't see the answers?
Yes, I saw them.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah. So
okay, you want me to tell you how I use technology, or what?
Yes, yeah, exactly. What new technology have you learned during the last couple of months?
Okay, lately I've been using Flipgrid.
Okay.
Because I'm a world language teacher, and this is a very useful tool to help students work on the speaking skills.
Of course.
And I can put a prompt. I put a prompt, the teacher prompts, and they act it out over the prompt, and they speak over it. And for example, if they have to describe themselves or whatever, and they follow the prompt.
Wonderful. Excellent. Great. And you can put that answer, in that in that field. You can type in this answer there.
Are you able to see my answer, or because I had to log back in for some reason? I must have clicked it out.
Yeah, it's all the way at the bottom. See?
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Yeah,
I see it. Yes.
Okay,
thank you.
Great. So Sandra says, I'm looking forward to using Nearpod. Judith says, I like the idea of inserting questions and asking students to view a YouTube video. Okay, great. And I believe Edpuzzle allows you to do that, Judith. Okay, so Michael, had Zoom meetings. Great. This is also, and the way Zoom has developed and the features they've added in the last couple of months, to integrate with new learning is phenomenal. Also, Kimberly said, she also had experience with Flipgrid. Great, excellent. Okay, so Lisa had experience with Kami. And Marie Pierdeck, okay, got it. And Lenny has said how to design a virtual classroom. Okay. Is it something which is like a classcraft kind of a thing, Lenny?
It's on Google, a Google Classroom, and you use your Bitmoji.
Can you tell us a little bit about it?
I'm just learning, and I try to make it look like my classroom in school.
Oh, okay.
Like I have, I teach kindergarten, so
oh wow,
I have the alphabet up there. I have a number chart, and my hope is that I'll be able to have the stories for the students to get virtually. Like they'll be able to click on it. I'll have them on a bookshelf. They'll be able to click on the bookshelf to listen to the story.
Oh wow. Is there any way you can share that with us on the screen if you have something handy?
Lenny, I want to add something. Are you a member of Craze for Bitmoji Facebook group?
Yes,
they have been posting a lot of virtual bookstores online, and they have the author themes. I might have like 100 files from them, and it's free of cost, and it all goes into our Google, our Drive directly. So yeah, that's yeah.
Can you add that, Sue, can you add that information on the chat box for others to see, access that? The information for the Bitmoji group you're talking about, if you can share that with others?
You have to make it in a Google slide.
Right, you make it in a Google slide.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. So
I found mine on my iPad, if you could see it.
Yeah.
I just didn't add my Bitmoji yet.
Okay.
That's where I am, Anne Marie. I haven't gotten that far yet.
So is there any way you have this? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What were you saying?
No, I was just asking Linny if she could share that with us because we, so that we could see visually what she's talking about.
Well, mine is like Anne Marie's. It's the same. I'm on an iPad, so I'm finding it hard to share.
Oh, okay.
I can share one of my library that I have.
Okay. So let me stop sharing it, and so that one of you could share. Go ahead.
Okay. I'll go.
You can see that I'm neck deep into technology.
So this was just one of the for math meeting that I downloaded from the group. So you see all the picture. Each one has a link for YouTube or any other website. So if I click on it, it will take me to a different page where the kids can actually see the activities and everything. So
wow.
Yeah, I might have like 100 files. Like you can see, I have a White House, Bitmoji. I mean, all I have to do is just change the Bitmojis to my Bitmoji. This group is awesome. Like there are 100 of files. They have journeys program too, I think for 2nd grade. All the vocabulary they are bringing in Orton Gillingham program in there. So it's all teacher based. Usually most of them members are the teachers and they keep on sharing stuff.
Where did you find
this is a Facebook group.
I'm assuming that this will be a closed group. Will there be any way?
Yes, you have to just send a request to join the group, and they're pretty good. All they need to know is if you're a teacher.
So can you add the name of the group here in the chat box?
Sure, I'll do that. And yeah, I have this library was good. There are like 100 slides, and they keep on adding more to it. But I would suggest when you make when you copy their slides, make your own copy so that you can make the edits. So this is a really big library.
So this is more like a virtual tours of these places, right?
Tours or books also, like read aloud, since the kids might not have the access to all the books. So now if they click on it, like this is, if I click on this one, this is slide 9, and it will take me to the slide 9, and that's where books for minis, and I can keep on adding there. So if I click on any of the picture, and all the links are safe YouTube net ones, so it's safe for the kids, and they can actually listen and listen to the stories and look at it.
Wonderful! Wow, I didn't know about this resource. This looks like, so this is how this is the community developed workshop. And in fact, while we're talking about this. I'm also showing you a link here for what they call Teach from Home LinkedIn group. This is a link that I have created on LinkedIn. If you can search for that, let me see if I could share that.
I have to stop sharing. Okay, I'll stop sharing.
Let me show that.
I have a question, Artie, for you. When I'm on that Facebook group as well, but when I try to hit the dot, like to copy it, it's asking me for my Google account. I put in Woodbridge. You're part of Woodbridge. It won't work. So
no, it won't. You have to have a private account because I think it's our district based, so it wouldn't let us go into the public places. So I download everything in my private just in case if you're changing jobs, you still have the stuff with you, and then you can share that folder with your school email ID, and that's it's access for me. So I keep on adding into my private one, and it's also viewable in my school account.
Okay. All right. I was wondering about that whole thing. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
The Bitmoji Classroom is good because I feel like that's tailored to the little ones. I made mine like all of the links for like all of the stuff that we used every day.
Okay.
So there was a link to our Google Classroom, our IXL, Journeys, YouTube, Everyday Math, the social studies is on the globe. So this
And you can
way,
also
like,
embed all these
they
slides
had a
into your sites too.
one-stop shop to get all of the like interactive websites and all that stuff that we used all like for 3 months.
Got it. So if you'd be kind enough, I would just sent you the link for Teach From Home LinkedIn group. Please click on that. And I would request Tatiana, if you'd be kind enough, Tatiana, if you can, this Bitmoji group information, if you'd be kind enough to add that information to this LinkedIn group, that would be a great help to all the people who are on that Teach From Home LinkedIn group. This would be a great help for all those, because I found this fascinating. Can you share that link on that group? And
yes, I can do that for you.
And I'm sorry?
Yes, I can do that.
Please. And if you can, all of you can click on that. I'll be, I can approve all of you for that group. And all the resources that I'm talking about, the copies of the videos of these workshops will also be uploaded on that LinkedIn group. And there are a lot of resources that continuously keep on adding on that Teach From Home special group for LinkedIn. So you can click on that and join it. And if this is one information that I like, if the others could also take advantage from. The information is at the bottom. Okay, so moving forward, so you see all of the responses here, and we're going to move on. This is just an example of a PDF viewer. This is where you can upload PDF articles, PDF worksheets, and all that for students to view. Nothing special about it. This is not writable. This is just a viewer. We're going to move on. This is where you can also add websites, and if you want them to go to a link, URL link, they can go there. You can click on that, and you'll be able to send them to wherever you want to send them to. Alrighty. Okay. So here is a question, and before you answer that question, you can also insert these helping or explaining videos. So let me play that video a little bit for you, and then you'll be able to answer that question, A or B. It's just a poll question. It's not a quiz, just a poll. So let me play that for you.
What is a self-paced course? To really understand what a self-paced course is, we first need to look at what a traditional course is. It typically involves an instructor standing at the head of a classroom, teaching and sharing knowledge to students. Now, this approach has worked really well in the past, but it has some issues. First of all, it's teacher-centered. It's focused on the instructor and not on the students. Second of all, it is time constrained. So you have to be in the same place at the same time to learn. Now let's contrast that with a self-paced course. Now in a self-paced course, the student is at the center. The student has an opportunity to interact with the content of the course, where they can really learn the materials and the things they're supposed to know and be able to do. They also interact with their peers and can learn from them in a lot of different learning activities. And they also interact with an instructor who gives them guidance and feedback in meaningful ways. So how do we design a self-paced course? Now, first of all, we focus on the goals. What do we want to have happen as a result of this instruction? What should our students know and be able to do? We also take a specific research-based design approach to help reach those outcomes. And we also break this instruction into different pieces and chunks so that the learners can learn more efficiently over time. And that's just a basic overview of a self-paced course.
Alrighty. So what would you prefer in delivering online instruction? You have two options, student-paced or instructor-paced. what we're doing right now is instructor paced. This is what I'm controlling. And you can, once you're there, you can see the answers on my screen. So most of you want to leave it student paced. That's interesting. Let me pick one. Susie, why do you think that student pace, would be a good idea?
I just feel that the students are more engaged when they can move through the questions at their pace, and sometimes the instructor goes a little faster than they'd like, or maybe they're confused with where they're trying to go. So, I mean, it really depends on the situation though too, but I find to get the most engagement, it's student paced.
Okay, now let me take this one. Artie, you said both. What model, do you have in your mind, where you can use both?
It depends on what kind of a scenario we are in. If it's in the classroom, I'll definitely do the teacher-led one. And for the remote learning, student paced is the best one. Even I think when we are in the classroom, the students are still doing the stuff on their own pace while we are also taking control of some aspect of the like videos and other things. So it definitely depends on the goal of the teaching or what kind of situation we are in. But they both are, I mean, I have used both of them and it has been successful in both the scenarios at home as well as in the classroom.
Okay. And Patty, you said, this, you rather have it instructor paced.
I think it's because I'm pretty much an old-fashioned educator, probably, and that's how it was, and for me, it's still how it is, and I think it's productive. But now, with the changing of the times, I think that now we do need to incorporate both engagement of the students, like Susie and Artie has said, and the instructor maybe pull back a little and let them discover the world and bring about what they learn, and I think that's how it should be.
I think that also proves you're not camera shy.
No.
I agree with Patricia too. I teach middle school, and we did a novel over this time of being home, which was very challenging, especially because it was a book that was had a lot of references to segregation. So there was a lot of history that we also had to teach. So I think it kind of depends on what it is you're teaching and how you're teaching it. Sometimes I had kids who they needed the structure. Otherwise, they did nothing. Then I had others who loved doing everything on their own and had the best grades they ever did. So I think it's, it's about mixing it up. Some kids will be strong in one and others will be strong in the other. And then you'll maybe be lucky to have kids who do well in both. So at least that's what I found, for middle schoolers.
I do have to incorporate, I'm sorry. I do have to incorporate about what Robin said. I had a student at the beginning of the semester that did not discuss anything with me at all. But when we turned into remote, that kid shined. It was just like it was his own environment and he was able to produce more. So again, it depends on what you're faced with at that particular time.
And I believe, we don't have to be, we have to be mindful of the different styles of learning and different preferences for learning too. Like you said, one student, who was not very involved or engaged in a classroom was certainly, was participating. But the thing is, online, you still have, those very preferences and how you figured out that, which student will respond to what kind of teaching. So you need to have, there is a room for one-to-one teaching. There's still a room for small group teaching. There will still be a room for, whole group teaching. So you will have all these forms of the demographics still there. And then, but the challenge will be how to match the preferences of learning with the available technology. What I'm showing you may not be good for all kinds of learners. There could be independent learners. Independent learners, they want self-paced. Give me and I'll get it done. So you don't want to waste their 2 hours, making them sit in front of a Google Meet in front of camera while they can learn on their own, independent learners. So that's what the multimodal learning is, wherein you match the learning preferences with the available technology. And I mean, that's why I was saying, that's the future of teaching. You'll be casting lessons from your studios, from your home to students' televisions, and that's not far. I'm telling you, you'll be casting it from your homes. You'll better start planning to spend some money on setting up your own studios. Here we go. So this is just a sample quiz. There are only 5 questions here. If you'd be kind enough just to take a short quiz, and I will show you results. And I think probably this is the last thing. No, we still have a few more, but I will try to get you going sooner. This is just a sample of creating a quiz in Nearpod. I'm especially interested in the answer to question number 4. No cheating. Still expecting a few more, and then I'll show you the results. And these questions were also just selected, from thin air. Question number 3 was a trick question, by the way. Alrighty, so can I go ahead and share the results now? I think that's about it. All of you got it. Can you see the results? Do you see only yours, or do you see everybody's?
Nope.
I see a pie graph.
We see only our results.
Okay, so you can come back here. Now you can see it here on my screen. Do you see the results from everybody?
Nope.
You might have to share your screen, I think.
Am I not sharing already?
No, I think.
I thought I was sharing that. Can you?
I think when we were switching around, yeah.
Let me see. Oops, sorry. You see this now?
Yeah.
Okay. So these are the results. So you can share it with others. So questions, can be here. This is my favorite question. The Earth rotates from east to west or from west to east? Okay. The green ones are the correct answers. The third one was a trick question, so both are right, both are wrong. All right. So this was just an example here. Another one, I think some of you have experience with Flipgrid already. You can create Flipgrids wherein you have the videos. And who had experience with Flipgrid?
Me.
I did.
I did.
Oh, okay. Can you share a little bit about how you use it?
I used it basically for asking questions. We started off like, how you doing? What was your favorite concept of that particular day? And they would chime in, and they would have a video, and it would be nice for us to socially interact, even if it wasn't just like this talking, but nice to see them and be able to respond. So it could have been just a do now type of thing that they would have to answer for me in Spanish. A little bit of response, whatever we were discussing, and they had to talk back or give me an answer, question answer type of thing.
Okay. And these were the videos were student created?
Well, I don't know how the whole mechanics of Flipgrid works, but apparently I posted up the questions or whatever it is, and then they had I guess the option to do video, but they all did it. It was my first time this semester working with it, and I went with it, but all the kids responded, and it was nice because I'm not really a Zoom person. I don't really like Zoom. So somebody told me about it, and I used that as well as Screencastify because it didn't involve me to go about being on the privacy, I'm thinking, but yes, it worked very nicely. I was able to see them, even though it wasn't at the moment, but it was nice to see the kids, and hopefully they were able to see me too.
And what grade level, remind us, what grade level are you talking about?
9 through 12, high school.
High school.
High school.
And they felt comfortable recording their videos?
Oh, they loved it. I had one student recommend it to me, actually. That's who it was. One of the students just came up, and she's like, she typed it. She goes, why don't you use Flipgrid? And I investigated it, and, I did it, and they were happy. So, yes, I think they had a need to see me as well as I had a need to see them, too.
Wonderful. Excellent. Who else?
I mean, I used it as in the beginning, same as somebody else had said, like to kind of talk about like what struggles they were having at home, learning at home, what things I could do to make it easier for them. And then we also used it for reactions for our novel. The only thing that I found with middle school, I teach 6th grade language arts. Some kids absolutely loved it and talked forever on it. Other kids blacked out their screen. I had kids who talked under a blanket. And then I had other kids who absolutely refused to do a video of themselves, so I made them do a Google document instead. So I gave them options if I didn't want to put them under the pressure of being in front of a camera if they didn't want to be. So, but they really did like it. And by the end, I had more and more jumping on the video. Oh,
okay. Great. Thank you very much. So this is one of the ways, where you can ask students to create, brief, this also part of what they call the flipped classroom, where you give some kind of an introduction on a topic early on, and then students, continue working on this, whatever the follow-up assignment is, and they can also create, their own video recordings, as part of the assignment projects.
Something just to add in real quick too with the Flipgrid, the kids liked when I made a sample one. Okay. So they knew what I was expecting from them. So it kind of gave them like, a good example of what I was expecting that was acceptable. And when I didn't do it, they asked where my video was.
Okay, great.
So that did prompt more of them to do it if I put myself out there too.
Okay, great.
I can share you a teacher prompt and a student sample.
Sure, go ahead.
Let's see.
I can stop sharing, and you can share yours.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Is that desktop or application?
You can use desktop and then go to that one. Yeah, go to desktop. Yep.
Can you see it?
Well, we can see it. Yes, of course.
this assignment, you have to base. Bonjour tout le monde. Voilà. Today, I have a simple assignment for you, just for you to practice your speaking skills. Okay. And in this assignment, you have to, based on the previous activity we had on, I think on Edpuzzle, you have to describe yourself using 3 adjectives. Okay, to describe yourself. It can be at the physical level or on the personal level, on your personality you can describe. And yourself, okay, using 3 adjectives or 4, at least 3. This is a descriptive adjective to use to describe yourself. And what you have in your backpack. And since we've learned about the school supplies, and you have to tell me 4 school supplies you have in your backpack and 3 you don't have. Okay, and I put it in the prompt for you on the grid what you have to include. Okay, choose 3 adjectives to describe yourself, and in your backpack what you have and what you don't have. What you don't have, you know, you have to make a negative sentence. That means you don't have, using verb avoir. I'm going to do it for you so that you can see the model and follow the model. Okay. Bonjour, je suis intelligent, je suis gentil, je suis sympathique, je suis sociable, je suis énergique, je suis grand, je ne suis pas de taille moyenne, je suis grand. Je suis, je suis pas gros, je suis grand, et je suis de grosseur moyenne. Ok, voilà. Dans mon sac à dos, j'ai une calculatrice, j'ai des feuilles de papier, et j'ai 2 livres de lecture, et puis voilà, j'ai 2 livres. Et quoi d'autre? Voilà. J'ai des crayons. Il y a 4 crayons, j'ai des crayons. Et j'ai aussi un stylo. Et j'ai une gomme. Qu'est-ce que je n'ai pas? Je n'ai pas de règles. Je n'ai pas je n'ai pas de règles, je n'ai pas d'ordinateur.
All right, so I think, you know, we got the idea on this one, Claudie. So we if you can stop now. Yeah, we got you know, a fair amount of idea. Okay, so these are some of the student responses.
Yes.
Can you show some of the student responses? Just show us one.
Okay, let me maybe the best one.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Bonjour, je suis intelligent, gentil, etc. J'ai des crayons, j'écris une règle. Est-ce comme dans mon secteur? Je n'aime pas de tels crayons, j'ai juste des calculateurs.
Voila.
Wonderful. Excellent. So just this is 2-way communication. This is what, you know, creates engagement both ways. And I'm assuming you used you know, Flipgrid for this and Screencastify probably for recording. I mean, you have the
no, you don't need to use Screencastify. Everything from the platform Flipgrid.
Okay, great. So there you go. You don't need to go outside of that. So thank you very much for sharing this with us.
You're
You
welcome.
can stop sharing and I'll continue from this point on. Thank you for sharing this with us.
Okay. Okay.
At the top? No problem. I'll do this for you. Okay. So here's another version. I won't play the whole thing.
Vocabulary. What's a genre?
This is this also a feature built into Nearpod, where you can teach vocabulary in a very, very visual and animated way.
Let's go. Genres, different categories. Describe the content of what type of story. Smaller categories, fantasy, science fiction, or mystery, or old fiction.
It's talking about the how to teach the types of genres in language arts.
The type of story is the genre, so we can know what we can expect from the author. Some genres share common traits like character or plot theme or setting, etc. Now let's talk about different genres. Fiction is my favorite, so let's make that the starter. Used to get read fiction by my mother and father. Fiction is made up stories, yeah, you can ask the author. One subgenre of fiction is fantasy, where everything is magical and the people are wizardly. Like when I grow some wings and fairy comes to visit me. Creativity, creatures that can only be in your dream. A common theme in fantasy is the fight between good and evil. Usually good people win most of the battles. Good be the protagonist.
All right, so for the language arts teachers among you, this is probably something that you can use to teach. There's it's a whole a library of terms that are part of Nearpod. So you can use this in your language arts classroom.
What about science? Does it have science vocabulary?
I'm pretty sure that it has quite a lot. So just search. I haven't searched any scientific term for that, but I'm sorry. I'm assuming that was a yes.
It has all the subjects.
It has all the subjects. Okay,
Yes.
great, excellent.
Actually, Nearpod owns
Thank
the
you.
vocabulary. They're sister concerns.
That's correct.
Yeah.
It's built in.
I'm sorry?
The vocabulary is Nearpod, so it's already built in. So it has all the subjects too.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Alrighty. So here's another. I think we did try the other day, wherein we worked on a graph. So you can use this graphs also. So we won't go through this. Once again, we have done this already. So we're gonna move on. This is all a great, again, one of those simulations, PhET simulations, which requires students, to try different variables in order to get this ball into this basket. So they can keep trying until they get it right. So this is one of the options. You want to try, someone? Some math wizards among you? You can change the variables on the left and see if this is going to work or not. It was the reason I went into language arts teaching and not math, because I don't even recognize these symbols, what they mean. Is there a math teacher here? I think, we'll skip that. We are coming, we have been sitting here for almost 2 hours. So I'm going to skip that, but just to give you an idea of what is possible in this application. So moving on, this a quick memory test. We'll skip that too. If you want to try on that, just quick memory test, you can create memory tests in that. By the way, my research in the doctoral program was on this particular topic. I was able to make students memorize the answers to an entire biology test and retested them after 30 days. And the students' ability to answer the same test even after a month was with 100% accuracy. And I'm talking about urban schools, every single student. Not one of them missed any of the answers. And it was based on that, the memory research I had conducted, which is based on an ancient journey method. I'll share that with you someday. If you want some of the work that needs some memorization, I can teach you that method also. Wherein, hey, simply, you will not forget whatever you commit to that memory in that fashion, you will never forget. That's it. So this is how, this is where, you'll see how to install Nearpod add-on to Google Slides. There is a quick intro to that. I'm going to start here, and because I'll be posting this on the LinkedIn Teach from Home group, you will be able to see this part of the video also there. So this is also, by the way, one of the presentation softwares I use, in which it tells you click by click. So you click on, you open up any Google slide, blank presentation, Google Slides, click on add-ons, click on get add-ons, search in add-ons, and search Nearpod in the add-ons. It's free, click on free, and it will ask you to enter your Google address. Please do not use your personal, because then you'll have a problem with sharing with students. Use your district's email address or whatever email address they've given you for Google. Use that one, and then click allow, and then go back to add-ons and Nearpod and click on open Nearpod, and you will see all of these options added on to regular Google Slides. So you can click on any one of these and it will add that feature to the slide. So you can click on here, you can click on just the subtitles, and that's it. That's about it. That's how you keep on adding all of these slides to a regular Google presentation. So what the entire presentation that you are looking at was actually was from the Google slide. It was prepared in Google slide and saved on Nearpod and shared it with you. So are you seeing this, what I'm looking at? The presentation click by click? Okay, good. So let's go back here. Now we're coming to the audio feedback. I think I'll rather, I'll leave it, for the next time, because, this is a whole new application and we are already a little over 2 hours. I don't want to belabor you more than that. Enough for learning for today. So is that okay if I could leave the audio feedback for next time? Because there's a whole new application for this. Moat being one of that, which Artie shared with us. But I thank you for your attention, for your contribution, for your participation. This has been an excellent, excellent, interactive, engaging session. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And don't forget to join in that LinkedIn group if you want to get the recording of this one. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, too.
Appreciate it.
Same here.
Thank you.
All right, leave.
Bye-bye.
It's okay.